Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Pitch 1. This is the sixth game of the day, and today we have the Carleton Ravens versus the Montreal Flamingos. It's sure to be a great game, a great match with plenty of entertainment. So sit tight, grab a snack, and let's wait until the game begins. Good evening and welcome back to Pitch 1. Once again, we have the Carleton Ravens on this side versus the Montreal Flamingos on this side. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, this is sure to be a wonderful showdown.
The players have made their cheers and they are now lining up, getting ready to get this show on the road. The sun has gone down, not like it was really ever a factor today, but the sun has gone down, the temperature with it, and we are just going to see what we've been seeing today, but enhanced in terms of cold hands, stiff quaffles and bludgers, and really put the potential for a much more physical game.
Cold hands, warm hearts. These teams have had all day to master their craft, and they're getting there.
And they're off. Oh, early possession by the Montreal Flamingos, getting up there steps ahead of the Carleton runner, and that's going to be an easy first point for Montreal. It's a really interesting thing that someone pointed out to me is this is really, if you have a fast enough player, that strike is really the first no bludger situation of the game, because the beaters are all scrambling for a ball, and unless you have an unreal fast beater, you can pretty much, if you get that quaffle fast enough, you can just go up and drop, which is a really interesting thing to point out, and I think that's the reason why we see a lot of drives off of those first those strikes. Goal's no good for keeper number, I believe that's number 9 on Carleton. That offense is going to break down as the ball rolls out of bounds. It's now in the hands of the Flamingos, who are looking to bring it up to half.
'99 has been beat. That's a big dilemma.
We're going to see a lob pass over, looking for a receiver on Montreal, but it's going to get caught up by one of the chasers on Carleton, who are going to break down that offense and look to answer. Who's got the quaffle? I can't tell. They're doing a very good job concealing it. I see it. It's crossing the half line right now. As we see some very aggressive beating by Carleton. They're leaving nobody behind, and that was a near miss for Carleton. That is the risk you take when you do those offensive beater plays. We see number 79, I believe that's Emily Naftel now coming around and taking a shot, not quite finding the hoop. And there it is. There's going to be a couple shots, a couple misses, but finally on the third one, Carleton finds the hoop and puts a point on the board. Nice slow ball coming up here for Montreal. They're going to cross half line, mobbing around their keeper, who is currently in possession. There's going to be one beater protecting, one beater looking to regain bludger superiority as they start to bias towards the right-hand side of the field. A very good beat by Carleton is going to have the offense break down. 26 is all alone, gets beat out, and we're going to see a fast break coming. Very good idea shooting it, seeing that beat coming in from the peripheral, but the I believe was the keeper or the chaser on Montreal was fast enough to block the shot. Good play by both sides on that one.
The Flamingos are in possession of the quaffle now, and they also have bludger superiority, so that gives them a little bit of a leg up against Carleton. And a big beat by 64 with a drive towards the hoops, but it is blocked by the Flamingos. The Ravens have possession of the quaffle. Chaser number 4 is making their way up the field with their offense just setting up right now.
Carleton crossing the half line, taking plenty of time, being nice and patient, trying to make this play. You can see number 4 is looking for options. There are a couple people out there trying to get open. As we see, a little bit of a beat is going to take away some of the initial. Beautiful! Takes away a little bit of the initial stress, and a beautiful blocked beat by number 4 is going to mean that they can just run it right up and take the shot. Thankfully, another very prudent chaser on the other side is able to get the rebound and put it in. That's going to put the Ravens up in this game, as now Montreal's going to have to look to reply to that, and they are unable to. It looks like they're going to turtle on it in the zone of the Ravens, and that's going to be no goal on the play.
The Ravens are making their way up the field with a pass of the quaffle, but it just falls a little bit short. The Flamingos are coming back up with the quaffle with a quick drive on. There's a quick face beat. That one's gotta hurt. But we can see in the back, the quaffle made its way to the back of the hoops with a shot through, and I do believe it was good.
You have to admire the quick hands coming out on that play from Montreal, because it is very cold out here. Those hands stiffen up very, very quickly, and a lot of those passes are not going to be connecting, as we've seen. So a good play despite the conditions for the Flamingos on that play. And we see, a sneaky beater from the Flamingos coming in from behind, attacking from the rear. We're going to see this whole offense is going to break down because of that beater. And all of a sudden, it's a no-beater situation for the Flamingos as they're coming in. There's going to be two defenders. Neither of them has a bludger. Wraps around the keeper and is able to put it through that short hoop for 10 points up. Flamingos regain their lead.
The Ravens have re-entered with the quaffle and are making their way on up to half. With some quick feet by Carleton chaser, but a big beat has put a wrench in that, and a breakaway by the Flamingos is sending him down the pitch. And one swift movement and a spin and a twist, and that ball is in the hoop, bringing the score to 20-40 in favor of the Flamingos.
This is a very interesting beating strategy that the Flamingos are coming around, sneaking around one of their beaters. It only works when they have BS, bludger superiority, that is. But sneaking around a beater around the whole play so they can attack from behind is very crafty and has been broken down the past two Carleton offenses. Let's see if Carleton can come up with a solution for it. And it looks like a deep pass is going to potentially be that, as you see Cody Rennick go and take a shot, and that's going to be 10 points up. Carleton still trails, but only by one. And everyone knows in Quidditch, if it's not more than 3, it doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. So we are very close this game.
Very good matchup with these two teams. I think their skill levels are pretty much equal. Both of them are improving all through the day.
It's a quaff across the center line in the hands of the keeper on the Flamingos. We're going to see a little bit of aggression coming from Carleton. Going to get covered by the Beaters. As a near snipe comes out, it's going to get offloaded by the Flamingos very quickly. Picked up by Emily Naftel. And it looks like... No, sorry, not by Emily Naftel. She plays for the other team. Sorry, Emily. Sorry. Anyway, that offense breaks down for the Flamingos. Good defense by Carleton to shut that down as they now come into possession and are looking to cross the center line. We see here's the opportunity. Seeing a little bit of grass, runs in front, is going to break a tackle, take a shot just a little bit north of the hoops, but it's going to get recovered by number 99. No, it's not. That's a beautiful beat coming out from the Flamingos. It's going to go out of bounds, and that's going to be a Flamingo ball.
Is that ours?
Yeah, that is. I think so. Yeah, it's probably ball. Did you kick it into a Flamingo and then go out of bounds? Did that.
Right there. Beautiful crossing pass to number 8. Unfortunately, a bit of a fumble. It's going to go on the ground, but it's still in the hands of the Flamingos. It's going to go over to number 4, who's going to be able to recover. Immediate pressure from the keeper, who is going to knock number 4 to the ground and recover that quaffle. There's a call on the play on that one. You have an unfortunate injury on that play. I don't want to speculate too much, and we'll know when the referee comes in. But it looked to me like it might have just been a little bit high. Net contact, head contact. It's always dangerous, and it's always best to have the medics come in and just make sure that everything's okay. A lot of the time you see people get a quick assessment, get up, and we hope that that's going to be what happens here. But we're just going to have a quick stoppage in play while that happens. While we wait, Summer, do you have any comments you'd like to make on the game so far?
I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. I think these teams are very equally matched, and it's really interesting to be able to see two teams play off of each other. And not only are they playing off each other, but I also think that it's a bit of a learning experience because they're playing a little similarly, in my opinion. So they're able to basically play against themselves, and with that, they're able to improve on their own skills. So I think that's really cool to watch, and it's really helpful for both teams in this match.
Yeah, and the name of the game, when you want to pull ahead in a game like that, when you're playing against a team with a similar play style, the name of the game is adaptability.
Yes.
It can be very difficult to find where the holes are in your own strategy if that's not an active thing that you're looking for. But we have seen a little bit of that adaptability coming out from the Ravens that I've noticed specifically, doing a good job of working to shut down that sneaky defense that the Flamingos were doing with that beater coming around and attacking from the rear. That kind of play is something that was very present on UDEM, which for those viewers who may not know, the Flamingos, the Montreal Flamingos, are essentially an echo of the old UDEM Université de Montreal team, who made the full transition into a community team this year for this season. So many of I spoke with I spoke with their captain earlier in the day, and he told me that they have a very strong core from the old UDEM squad, but now that they have the ability to recruit new players that are not necessarily university students, they have a lot more depth and a lot of new players coming in as well. So it sounds like a good move overall for the franchise, we are seeing a lot of that old UDEM strategy bleeding into what they're doing now. Those sorts of sneaky moves with the beaters, or the other thing that we see often is very, very aggressive point beating on defense. All those things are textbook UDEM, and we're seeing that bleed into the Flamingos now as they're sort of, the same but separate, making a name for themselves in this league in this season. The update on the injured player is now on their feet and coming off of the pitch. Again, it's always just important to check on those situations that may be some sort of a head, neck, and spinal, and just make sure before anything happens. But now that they are off the pitch on their own power, we're going to be getting back to the game. So that's going to be a yellow card for number 9 on Carleton. For a contact at the neck. For a yellow card, what that means is you are going to spend 1 minute in the penalty box. You will stay there until that minute is up or until your team is scored on. Yellow cards do stack, so if this specific player gets a second yellow card this game, it will upgrade to a red card. They'll get a 2-minute uninterrupted penalty and then be ejected from the game. That's how the card system works in Quidditch, as we are now back in the action. We see number 7 with a nice kick, bringing it over and resetting the ball, looking to start a new offense. There's the midline that they are afforded, and crossing now. 7 is going to have a crossing pass. It's going to get tipped just out of the hands of the receiver, as number 99 is now going to jump on it and recover it for Carleton. Quaffle now in the hands of chaser number 99 for Carleton, coming up nice and slow, taking their time, using that patience to try and figure out what their best option is. Couple pass options on the right, and they're going to elect for that. Oh, really? Actually, Carleton overloading the left-hand side of the field. 2 passes there, and both beaters. They're sort of doing a lopsided play. As we see now a player coming in. There's the cross pass. That's what you want to look for when they overload that side. Unfortunately, doesn't quite find the hands of the receiver and is going to get picked up by number 7, who's going to realize there might be a bit of an opening here. Coming around on the left-hand side of the field. Oh, gonna run into some resistance and a pass right over the head. Looked like a little bit of fear in that one, but it is gonna find another Flamingo. So Flamingos will retain possession in the name of number 99, looking to make something happen. Not many options open. There's one player open on the right, but looks like number 99 is just gonna elect to do a bit of a drive and it's gonna get smacked down by the actually a chaser on Carleton. Interesting.
We have a 2-person sub on the Carleton side, with 2 new chasers coming on in. Number 14 and number 79. Let's see what they can do. Not right now, though, because that was a little bit of a timeout. Not a timeout, though, just a whistle.
Double whistle on the play. Yeah, the refs are conferring. I didn't see anything. I'm not sure what the call is for, but they must have seen something that we didn't.
Luckily, this remarkable live stream catches everything.
It's the beauty of rewind. That is a blue card for number 2 on the Flamingos for carrying a ball off of the pitch. A blue card is very similar to a yellow card. Everything is the same except that a blue card doesn't stack. You can get as many blue cards as you like in a game and you will never end up being ejected. Well, yeah, in theory, you will never end up being ejected. But still is going to be out for 1 minute or until their team is scored on. And the thing with this is a beater penalty. And the issue with beater penalties is they're like 1,000 times worse than chaser penalties because for the time that your beater is in the penalty box, you cannot hold bludger superiority. So you're guaranteed to lose it for the duration of that penalty, and then you have to worry about getting it back even when you are back at full strength. So an unfortunate penalty for the Flamingos to be taking, especially in such a close game. But one that clearly they seem to have defended well on as there was no goal on the play. Flamingos able to break down that Carleton offense and now looking to return with one of their own.
The Flamingos are in possession of the quaffle, and they're making a short and slow move up. But there's a little bit of a break there. There's no beaters present, and the Flamingo keeper, number 7, is flying. You know, I've never seen a Flamingo fly, but that was pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Although the goal was not in the hoop, still a great effort.
I want to point out, this is a very low-scoring Quidditch game. We're only at 30-40 at 11 and a half minutes. This is a testament to how equally matched these teams are, coming in very similar levels, and it's making for a very good Quidditch game. So you see now on the left-hand side of the field, a little bit of action, a little bit of roughing up the beaters. Looks like beater number 1 on Carleton trying to make an opening by messing up the flow of the Montreal beater, but it's going to be an interception. I think that's number 14, potentially on Montreal, who's going to go for a run all the way down the pitch right side. Finds a little bit of resistance, but manages to get through it and goes for another 10 points up for the Flamingos. Flamingos now pulling ahead a little bit more. One more point, and they are at a 30-point lead, which would put them in overtime range. One more point after that, and they are out of range. So we are getting, depending on how momentum goes, we could be, things could start to look grim for Carleton. But of course, we can't say anything yet. See number, I'm not sure the number, but on the and doesn't quite find the hoop as it's going to break down and it's going to gut into the hands of number 0 for the Flamingos now coming up looking to make a play. Zero coming, crossing half. As soon as crossing half, gonna put the wheels on. What a bit of deception there.
I was not seeing that coming.
Meandering up to half, identifying the lane, and then putting the wheels on as soon as they cross. And it looks like that strategy will reward them with a goal. I'm not sure if they've called it good or not, but there is a double whistle on the play, so there might be something more to this that we haven't seen. Okay, so the ruling is that the player was beat before so there is no goal. So the crafty play unfortunately goes unrewarded, but if we had style points to give out, I'd be giving them out right now.
Yep.
Carleton advancing with the quaffle in the hands of their keeper. Coming up to half again, mobbing a little bit around, but we see that sneaky beater again, number 66, coming around for the Flamingos, gonna neutralize one of the chasers, coming in, attacking from behind, finding a lot of resistance from number 42, who's gonna be able to hold them off just long enough for a play to be made, a couple of passes, and they're gonna shoot, and that looks like a good goal for Carleton. Beautiful. They owe that whole play to that one beater who was holding off number 66 on the Flamingos long enough for the chasers to make something happen.
A little bit of action right in the center of the field with some very defensive playing by chaser number 11 on the Carleton Ravens, going after keeper 0, who was in possession of the quaffle on the Flamingos. Lots of beater action going on as well. However, the quaffle is on its way up the pitch towards the Carleton Ravens with a pass.
Oh!
But that pass gets blocked by the keeper on the Ravens and will not go through the hoop this time.
I want to point out the pass itself was beautiful, beautifully sent, beautifully received. The shot was stuffed by the keeper in a very stuffed by the keeper in a very quick moment. Who then seemed to identify a lane and took it all the way home to put another point up for Carleton. And just like that, we're tied up again.
That's the beauty of Quidditch. In a game like this, with a matchup such as, it's truly anyone's game.
Yeah, now coming up to the 15-minute mark, we're getting very close, and I think we're getting to the point where we're going to have to start thinking that this game's going to come down to snitch play. You see number 0 finding quite a bit of resistance now, going to be taken to the ground by a tackler. That's number 4 on Carleton. Fantastic tackle, but it's going to end up, number 0 is going to get up and run forward and score. And that's an interesting, Quidditch is an interesting contact sport because the onus on the player being tackled, there is no requirement for that player to get rid of the ball. You think of football where the whole play stops, or rugby where a tackled player must present the ball to their team and then a ruck will form. In Quidditch, if you are tackled and no one pressures you while you're on the ground, you can get back up and keep running. Which is why we don't necessarily see a lot of tackles being brought to the ground in Quidditch. Because it doesn't have the same kind of weight that it does in other contact sports. It's more of tackling is more of a tool for people to use to tie up a player long enough for beater to come in or try and force a bad shot. We saw just in that play number 22 again going in, trying to make a long shot, not quite finding it. Number 26 gets the East Regional Citizenship Award, putting the hoops back together. The goal ref now coming in as the goal ref was going to chase after the ball. Goal ref now coming in and fixing it. But we see the Flamingos now. Number 0 coming up to the center line. Little bit of organization coming from Carleton as we see a quick break by number 66. Number 0 is going to break a tackle, going to break one, going to spin out of the second one. Oh, not quite. Going to make the shot and it's going to get blocked by number 21, Wes Mackey. Amazing keeper, veteran keeper on Carleton. Not much gets past Wes.
Carleton keeper number 24 is currently in possession of the quaffle and making a little bit of a mosey on up the field. There's some beater action going on near the hoops, but the real star of the show is going on right here with a long pass behind the hoops of the Montreal Flamingos, and they're hoping to make some quick work back here. The quaffle yet again in the possession of the Ravens, hoping to make a little drive up to the field. But they double back. And now it's in possession of the Flamingos with a beautiful jump over the ball, and
what a
drives
dodge!
He takes it all the way, and it goes right through the center hoop.
That was incredible. So what we saw there was some good. No beats were made by the Flamingos. All that they needed to do was threaten a beat to give those opposing chasers and opposing beaters that half second of second guessing themselves long enough for their player to put the wheels on, come through, and just a pure showing of skill. Jumping over, that was a high beat. That would have hit them in the chest. Still jumped over it.
That man's vertical, insane.
Absolutely fantastic. A well-deserved goal for the Flamingos as we see the Seekers now getting ready to go on. About 10 seconds from now, this game is going to look very different.
5, 4,
Over by the hoops, we can see a pass that was supposed to go to the Ravens, but got chipped by a beater, number 15 on the Flamingos. With the Quaffle now in possession of the Flamingos, that keeper just keeps driving up the hoops. But the possession is fumbled just, oh, I lied. It's back in the possession of the Flamingos, and this keeper just doesn't stop. Unfortunately, that one was just a little bit too low, and it didn't 100% go through the hoop. In fact, it didn't go through at all.
And this is a lesson that the Flamingos are teaching to all of us. Always follow your passes, even if it hits the ground deep in enemy territory. If you follow your pass, there's a chance that you can recover it, and it comes down to cardio. It comes down to really putting the wheels on, and we're going to see a beautiful snipe.
Big beat.
Very big beat by the Flamingos to shut down what looked like an easy goal for Carleton.
The Flamingos currently have bludger superiority as well as the Quaffle, so hopefully they can use that to their advantage and open up a couple lanes. And yet again, the keeper, we see them up at the Carleton end, who's just driving those balls.
Finds the hands of the receiver behind the hoops. Going to be tied up a little bit in contact, but they are going to find it. Now, I believe it's 50 to 80 now, which means it's a 30-point differential. If Carleton catches right now, they go to overtime. So Carleton, best case scenario, not best case scenario, but right now the goal for them is to score one and then pull the snitch, because that will have them win by 10. They'll need a few unanswered goals now to keep this in victory range, and those long-range beats coming up from the Flamingos are just going to make that so much harder for them. These have been some really, really good beats from the Flamingos here, and we're going to have a double whistle on the play now as we get a chance to breathe here.
This game has been full of action and full of excitement from both teams. Both teams are playing incredibly well. A little bit less hitting, as I do believe that, I don't want to assume, but that may be because of the weather. It's gone a little bit chillier.
All those hits are going to hurt so much more.
For both parties.
Yeah, but it is interesting because usually you see the game become a lot more physical when the snitch is on pitch, because the teams now have to devote a certain amount of energy to beating, to seeker beating, which means that you get a lot more drives, you get a lot more hero balls and that kind of thing. But what we're seeing now, we're actually seeing them lean more on the finesse side of things. We're seeing more runs. We're seeing more people trying to get in behind and go for sneaky dunks and that kind of thing, which is an interesting take on the relieved beater pressure that comes at the 18-minute mark.
There has been a stoppage of play. Not entirely sure what happened on that one. There may have been a little bit of a kerfuffle going on for the Flamingos for their keeper, but he is up. And this is what's great about Quidditch. He says it better than anybody else could. And that is the beauty of Quidditch.
Going on.
Friends helping friends.
Going on like a champion.
And number 7 is taking over the spot of keeper. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the snitch here. It's bound to be a rib-hitting situation. The snitch, we can see, is getting some quick lunges and squats. Whoa, that back bend.
Always important to limber up, especially as a snitch.
And play has resumed with the Quaffle in possession of... Where's that sneaky ball? Where's the ball?
Quaffle. We see Quaffle. We see Quaffle in the Flamingo zone, going to be passed out to the Ravens, but it's not going to find a receiver. Flamingos are going to receive it, or are going to recover it. My apologies. As we see, the snitch still has not been caught on pitch now for 2.5 minutes. Yeah. So we see the Seekers have given the snitch very little quarter. Both teams, nobody's defensive seeking right now. Both teams want to catch. As we see, the score is now 60-80. So if Carleton catches, they do win the game. They are in that range now. Yeah.
Quaffle drive
If
down
the
to
snitch
the
is down,
back of the
blow it
hoops.
dead. Is it an injury
The
or a
Quaffle's
shoelace?
now in possession of the Carleton
injury?
Ravens, who makes a long pass up to chaser number 14, who's
It was
hoping to
just a
drive
shoelace.
the Flamingo hoops. Unfortunately, the ball is taken to ground, and fortunately for the Flamingos, it's in their possession. A big beat right in the middle. Done by beater 66, who seems to be on a little bit of a roll here. And that is a stoppage of play. Like I said before, this is a sticky situation, so I do believe that stoppage of play was account for a shoelace that seemed to be untied. However, play has resumed. And I would also like to note that none of the beaters seem to be going after the Seekers on either team.
We see a little bit from the Flamingos here, have been doing quite a bit of Seeker beating, I believe. We're going to see a quick... Very nice centering pass by Carleton out to number 22. That was a beautiful run. 22 following parallel with their other player coming and getting open for that pass. A well-deserved goal. As they are now closing this gap, we're getting even closer to being tied at 8.
The Quaffle is now in possession of the Flamingos with lots of beating action happening right in the middle of the pitch as well, if you keep your eyes open for that. Oh, a deflection by Carleton beater, who then rebounded it.
That looked more like a tackle than an attempt at catching.
Yes.
But sometimes it happens. You see now at number 7, running right along the midline, looking to make something happen. There's not a lot of support around. Gonna have to offload that ball. Oh, it's gonna hit the post, but just being traced a little bit by the Carleton squad. Now looking for a sub. A fast break coming up from Carleton. Gonna take the long shot and not gonna find it. Those long shots, of course, with the cold hands, the stiff quaffle. It's really tough to make those. We've seen quite a few attempts coming out from Carleton, and not many of them have actually made it in.
The time of the game is now at 23, almost 23 minutes, which even for Quidditch is a little bit long for no snitch catch.
We're dragging on a little bit. I've definitely seen games twice this long. And it looks like we have a pull. Just as we say it. Just as we say, yes, definitely a good showing from the snitch.
Good showing by the snitch and also from the Seeker on the Flamingos as they made a pull, and we're about to see if it was valid.
That's a conferring. That's a quick meeting. Catch is good. That means victory for the Flamingos. This summer, this was such a close game.
That was such a good matchup.
Yeah, both teams playing hard, and at the end of the day, it came down to the snitch catch. There's no reason for Carleton to hang their heads after this one. They should be proud of their performance. Of course, Flamingos coming out with the W, it always feels good. But some really, really good Quidditch coming out from both sides. The conditions are in nobody's favor, but really everyone coming out here and working hard, and that's always good to see.
Both teams showed a very great feat this evening, and I do believe it's time for them to get warm.
Yeah.
I hope it's time for them to get warm, because Calder, my toes, frozen.
Yeah, I'm a little cold, and I've been wearing all my layers all day. That's going to be our final score is going to be 110-70 for the Flamingos. And as the players shake hands, do you have any other comments you'd like to make? Maybe not.
Tune in for the next game. Don't go anywhere.
There you go. Thank you very much for tuning in.